I saw myself as an electronic joyrider having a great time on the information superhighway. I felt like I was like James Bond behind the computer.
Hackers have been around for a millennia. From Julius Caesar, 100 years BC, he created the Caesar cipher, the shift cipher, so that he could disguise his military messages. The First World War and the Second World War, where the Bletchley Park code breakers were able to decipher messages and shorten the war. Right up to modern times, hackers have had a dramatic impact upon society and technology at large. What I wanted to do was to look at some of those groups, those individuals who had a dramatic impact upon our world today. And I'm going to give you the top 5. We cannot talk about hacking without talking about the anonymous group. This is a group of people, a decentralized community online that started out live back in 2003. And they started out live as an online community, just really doing things for fun, for lulz, if you like, where they took down a number of very prominent websites, such as the Church of Scientology. They also went up against Westboro Baptist Church.
We will not allow you to corrupt the minds of America with your seeds of hatred.
And a number of high-profile companies like PayPal. Now, Anonymous have gone on from doing things for lulz, just for a laugh, all the way through to hacktivism, where they hack for a certain belief. So as an entity, they have had a dramatic impact upon our society, and they continue to do so because no one can quite place exactly where they sit, whether they are black hat hackers or they are white hat hackers. Number 4 is an individual. This is a person called George Hotz. He was is a software engineer, and he was responsible for the Sony and PlayStation hacks back in 2011.
Look, I'm right here. If Sony really wants something from me, come and ask me for it.
That had a massive impact upon Sony and PlayStation and over hundreds of millions of people. Now, the real impact I believe that George had was the fact that he was the first person to jailbreak SIM phones. We may have all heard of jailbreaking, where the code on your iPhones or your iPads, etc., is locked, so you can't access it. He was one of the very first people to be able to break into the operating system.
I'm George Hotz. This is the world's first unlocked iPhone.
Since then, he has gone on to do a number of high-profile hacks and had an impact upon a number of large organizations. Number 3 is someone who had an impact that many people probably don't appreciate. And this is a gentleman called Ross William Ulbricht, or Albright. He was also known as Dead Pirate Roberts, and most of us may not have heard of his name, but will have heard of something he created. He actually created something called Silk Road. Silk Road is the dark market website that is, when most people think of the dark web and they talk about things you can buy on the dark web, like drugs and guns and other things and stolen artifacts, in actual fact, they're talking about Silk Road quite often. Now, he created this over a very short space of time. I think he ran from 2011 to 2015, but he still amassed over $15 million worth of trading annually because of the dark market, because of Silk Road. He was arrested. He is serving time for his crimes, but Silk Road is there by another name and another guise, but it's certainly as a business structure, as an operating model, if you will, Ross was definitely the forerunner of what we see as being the dark markets. And number 2, we have Michael Khals, also known as Mafia Boy. Now, he was responsible for a number of distributed denial of service attacks, DDoS attacks, against some very high-profile organizations. He was able to take down Amazon, eBay, Yahoo, and thousands of other organizations.
Every day this week, major websites have been outmaneuvered and outmuscled by someone who wanted to take them down.
Now, the reason that I'm highlighting Michael as being somebody who, again, deserves recognition at number 2 is that he was just 15 years old when he was able to do this. And when his court case came around, security experts simply said that although his reasons for doing this and his purpose for doing this can be questioned, it does also throw a massive highlight on these large organizations that we all trust, and yet a 15-year-old boy was able to perpetrate these kinds of attacks. The question is, have we learnt anything, and have these organizations learnt anything that Mafia Boy was able to teach us? Finally, at number 1, we have Kevin Mitnick. Kevin Mitnick is widely regarded as the poster boy for hackers and social engineering.
I saw myself as an electronic joyrider having a great time on the information superhighway. I felt like I was like James Bond behind the computer.
The reason is that he actually started out life at 12 years old, social engineering the bus companies in his hometown. What he would do is he would dumpster dive and go and find old ticketing systems, old tickets, and use those to be able to ride free around his hometown. At age 16, he progressed, he'd learnt his craft, and he was able to hack into DEC, Digital Electronic Communications Company, and he managed to steal software from them. In 1995, he spent 5 years in prison. He was the very first person that I understand to have been charged under the Computer Misuse Act.
Over a 13-year period, Mitnick broke into the computer systems of more than 35 major international corporations, exploits that made him the FBI's most wanted computer criminal.
He served his time. He has now gone on to become a world-renowned speaker and cybersecurity evangelist, explaining to organizations how they can improve their cybersecurity. And he's a CEO of a number of organizations. So this is definitely a story of a bad boy turned good. And that's a great place to finish. So there you have it. That's my top 5 hackers of all time. The ones I believe who've had the most dramatic impact upon society in the past and possibly into the future. Do you agree? Maybe you disagree. Maybe there are others that you would put on that list. Leave a comment below to get involved. Subscribe if you're not already. And leave a like if you enjoyed it.